Russian Foreign Minister Sergey Lavrov and U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio met Thursday on the sidelines of the ASEAN summit in Manila, their first in-person talk since September 2025. The 35-minute meeting focused on bilateral relations and international issues, including Ukraine and the Persian Gulf. Moscow said Lavrov warned against further arms deliveries to Kyiv, reaffirmed readiness for a diplomatic settlement, and welcomed renewed cooperation between Roscosmos and NASA. Rubio described the talks as good and frank, but noted Russia's Anchorage proposals were no longer viable after Ukraine's rejection, stressing that any peace deal would require no ideas and no concepts. The Kremlin cautioned against reading too much into the meeting, calling continued contacts positive, but not yet a breakthrough. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy says Kyiv is ready to join trilateral talks with the United States and Russia, stressing the meeting should take place before autumn. Speaking alongside Irish Prime Minister Michael Martin in Kyiv recently, Zelenskyy noted Washington would first discuss proposals with Ukraine before engaging Moscow. He acknowledged U.S. attention has partly shifted to developments in Iran, affecting focus on the conflict with Russia. The trilateral talks were halted after 3 rounds following the outbreak of the Iran war in February. Zelenskyy also addressed changes in his administration, confirming he offered former Defense Minister Mikhailo Fedorov other posts which were rejected. Fedorov's dismissal triggered protest, while Commander-in-Chief Alexander Sirski was also removed amid public pressure. Protesters gathered again in central Kyiv on Thursday, demanding the reinstatement of former Defense Minister Mikhailo Fedorov after his surprise dismissal. Demonstrators waved Ukrainian flags and carried placards reading, "Roll back," and "Fedorov is not prisoner of war to be exchanged." Supporters praised his anti-corruption record and questioned whether acting Defense Minister Yevhen Kamara is ready for the role. The dismissal has intensified pressure on President Volodymyr Zelenskyy, with protesters urging him to reverse the decision. Zelenskyy declined to explain the move, saying he did not want to reveal information that could benefit Russia. Fedorov, credited with spearheading Ukraine's digital transformation and military drone use, later said he had advised Zelenskyy to replace top military commanders. Russian Foreign Minister Sergey Lavrov arrived in Chorpon-Ata, Kazakhstan on Friday for the Shanghai Cooperation Organization SCO Council of Foreign Ministers meeting. Footage showed Lavrov and other diplomats greeting each other and posing for photographs. The meeting marks the final stage of preparations for the SCO Leaders Summit scheduled in Bishkek from August 31 to September 1. Ministers are set to discuss the organization's modernization, regional security, and sustainable growth across Eurasia. Lavrov will also hold a series of bilateral meetings on the sidelines of the event. Kyrgyzstan's Foreign Minister Zinbek Kulubayev opened the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Foreign Ministers Council meeting in Chorpon-Ata on Friday, celebrating the body's 25th anniversary. Kulubayev praised the SCO's progress since its founding, calling it a respected international organization that strengthens peace, stability, and mutual trust across Eurasia and beyond. He expressed confidence that long-standing cooperation among member states will continue to grow. The meeting marks the final stage of preparations for the SCO Leaders Summit set for Bishkek from August 31 to September 1. Ministers are also discussing the organization's modernization, regional security, and sustainable growth. President Vladimir Putin has underlined Russia's ability to produce advanced weaponry entirely independently during a meeting of the Security Council in Moscow on Thursday. Putin said Russia is among the few nations capable of manufacturing all necessary materials, components, and raw resources for mass production and modernization of military equipment. He noted the scale of the undertaking involves nearly every government department. According to the Kremlin, the meeting was attended by Prime Minister Mikhail Mishustin, Federal Council Chair Valentina Matviyenko, Defense Minister Andrei Bolusov, and FSB Director Alexander Bortnikov, among others. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian welcomed Iraq's newly appointed Prime Minister Ali al-Zaidi to Tehran on Thursday as he arrived with a high-level delegation for talks on bilateral ties and regional development. Footage showed the leaders standing for their national anthems before walking along the red carpet at the official reception. Al-Zaidi said he would meet senior Iranian officials to deepen cooperation and consult on regional security, stressing historic and cultural ties between the two nations. Pezeshkian called the visit a turning point in strengthening strategic ties, urging closer coordination to finance economic, trade, security, and infrastructure agreements. The trip follows al-Zaidi's recent visit to Washington for talks with U.S. President Donald Trump as Iraq navigates escalating tensions between Washington and Tehran. Food and energy security, supply chain resilience, and regional stability topped the agenda as ASEAN, China, Japan, and South Korea met for the 27th ASEAN Plus 3 Foreign Ministers meeting in Pasay City on Thursday. China's Vice Foreign Minister Hu Chunying warned instability in the Middle East is affecting global energy and food supplies. South Korea's Foreign Minister Cho Hyun pointed to disruptions in the Strait of Hormuz, while Japan's Toshimitsu Motegi urged deeper cooperation on energy, aging populations, and disaster prevention. Philippine Foreign Secretary Tess Lazaro said the bloc remains vital amid rising prices and volatility, noting members are working to ratify a rapid financing facility under the Chiang Mai Initiative to provide liquidity during external shocks. Established in 1997, ASEAN Plus 3 has become the region's main forum for economic resilience and stability. DRC's Foreign Minister Theresa Kayikwamba Wagner has called for tougher international rules to stop natural resources from financing armed groups and criminal networks. Speaking Wednesday at a UN Security Council debate in New York, Wagner warned that when strategic resources fund war instead of development, it becomes a threat to global peace and security. She stressed the urgency for DRC, where mineral wealth has long been exploited through networks, fueling instability and fragility. UN Secretary-General António Guterres backed the call, cautioning that illicit resource revenues link local violence to regional and international financial systems, undermining prospects for peace. The debate, convened under DRC's July presidency of the Council, focused on resource-rich countries, where surging global demand continues to leave local communities facing violence, displacement, and little economic benefit. African leaders gathered in Accra on Wednesday for the African Union Extraordinary Summit on Health, with WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus urging stronger health systems to reduce reliance on external funding. Tedros warned that treating disease alone is not enough, citing poverty, conflict, and inequality as root causes. He pointed to the Ebola outbreak in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo as an example of how weak systems undermine response efforts. The AU highlighted progress against HIV, noting AIDS-related deaths have fallen by 74% since 2004, but warned those gains are at risk as external funding declines. Ghana's President John Mahama called the reduction proof that Africa can overcome its challenges when united. The summit focused on a continental health compact to strengthen systems, expand universal coverage, and accelerate efforts to end AIDS and tuberculosis by 2030. Bolivian engineer Rolly Ronald Mamani has unveiled the RIX, a home-built humanoid prototype designed to inspire children and young people to explore robotics. Presented on Tuesday by Robotics Creators Bolivia, the robot marks the team's first step into the fast-moving world of humanoid technology. Mamani said the prototype was built using affordable, locally available materials as Bolivia joins the global race in humanoid development. Mamani also runs Bolivia's first robotics museum in Achucala, near La Paz, showcasing dozens of creations including robots and bionic prostheses. He hopes the museum will bring modern education closer to younger people and highlight the importance of technology. A graduate of the Public University of El Alto, Mamani has also developed low-cost robotic prostheses aiming to move innovation beyond the laboratory and into everyday life.